The speaker for this session is Lewis Howes, CEO of Inspired Marketing LLC. This is a session on how to produce six-figure affiliate webinars. Thank you.
Yeah, give it up. Jeez. So I'm supposed to read this off to you guys. We appreciate your time and effort, so thanks for being here, everyone. We value and rely on attendee feedback to continually improve the quality of the show, so you guys should have some forms. Just go ahead and circle it 5 or a 10 right now, whatever the best number is, and you can just hand that in. So fill those out, and then at the end of this presentation, there'll be 5 minutes, or 15 minutes with Q&A. Basically, we'll just do Q&A towards the end, and if you guys have any questions at any point, you can just scream or shout out loud or raise your hand, and we'll do that. So my name is Lewis Howes, and I just got in from San Francisco this morning, so if I look a little tired, I'll apologize. But I'm going to talk about six-figure webinars and how to run them yourself, but also how to do affiliate webinars. I want to share a quick story before I get started. I wrote a book about LinkedIn back in 2009. And I was trying to figure out how to build a business off of a book. Any authors in here? Anyone have books or products or anything? Yeah? Book? One book? Yeah. So I was barely making any money pretty much selling my books. I was traveling around the country. I was trying to sell these books and do these seminars, but I wasn't really making any money. And it was a moment where I realized how I could leverage my content, my information, when a friend of mine named Joel Comm, anyone know Joel Comm or heard of Joel Comm? Yeah, a few people. He said, Lewis, I want you to come on a webinar with me. I'd never even heard of what a webinar was at the time, back in 2009. He said, I want you to get on a webinar with me, and I want you to share your LinkedIn information, and I want you to sell a product at the end. And I didn't have a product, I had a book. He said, I want it to be around $100 to $200. So I ended up scrapping together a really bad sales page with basically just a buy now button linked to PayPal, and created a product that wasn't even made yet. I said I'm going to have a 3-hour training course on LinkedIn, teaching you the beginning, the intermediate, and the advanced strategies on LinkedIn. And I pretty much presented on this webinar. There were around 500 people on the webinar, I think. I was really, really nervous. You can see the number, how many people are on there. 500 were on. It's my first webinar, first real speech in front of a large audience. I remember I was at my brother's house. I didn't have a shirt on because I was sweating so much. It was just sweat coming out. And I think I was sitting in just like my underwear even because I was just so sweaty. It was really hot that day. It's a good visual, isn't it? And I was really nervous at the beginning of the webinar. I had the worst slides you can ever imagine, really bad slides. I'm not a graphic designer. I'm not a great PowerPoint person. But about 20 minutes into the presentation, I kind of get over my nerves, and I just hit my content. I knew my content really well about LinkedIn, so I just started giving great advice, great training, great value. At the end of the webinar, I'm supposed to offer my products. And I do a really bad job of kind of selling the training, which the training wasn't even created yet because I was going to be presenting it live over the next couple weeks. So I say, go check out this website, and if you're interested, sign up, basically. Joel did a better job for me and said, this training is going to be great. Make sure you guys sign up. Here's the price. Here's the offer. Here's what you're going to get. We shut down the webinar after the Q&A section, and again, I'm sweating profusely at this point, even more now. I open up my PayPal account. I'm scared. I think I'm going to break the computer. I'm like, do I turn off the webinar? What do I do? Do I stay quiet? So I'm really quiet, trying to make sure not to be loud so people can't hear me. I open up my PayPal account. There's $6,300 in my account. And now at the time, I never really made that type of money in 60 minutes. And I didn't even have a product yet. So I was still developing the product that I was going to be delivering live. And a light bulb went off at that moment. I realized I wasn't really making a lot of money selling books and kind of going around the country doing these events that I was doing, but webinars and packaging my information into a different type of product that I can sell at a higher price point, you can really do some serious damage. And so after that moment, I started doing a lot of webinars. And the next webinar I ended up doing with a friend of mine, Sean Malarkey. I think he's in here. He might be out in the hall. My business partner now, with similar story. We did $12,500 in 60 minutes with a product we hadn't even created yet. And we delivered the training live. And I realized that this is really something that I need to be doing full-time webinars. We've done over 7 figures this year alone, just selling products via webinars. And a lot of it is with affiliates. I'd say half of it's with affiliates, half of it's with their own list. So how many people have their own database or email list or network? Okay, about half of you, perfect. Would you say, how many of you have a network of over 5,000 people, like an email list? You guys are in a good position because you can do some serious damage. You can easily make 6 figures on webinars to your own list if you have 5,000 to 10,000 true fans, really. There's Sean. Way to come in late after I talked about you. So what I want to do is talk about the webinar kind of selling sequence and why it really works and how anyone can implement this for your own list. And luckily, a lot of you have your own list. People I usually talk to don't have a database. So I'm going to talk about how you can do it for yourself first, and then how you can attract and do this with affiliates. So there's a sequence for selling on a webinar that works effective. And feel free to write this down. I didn't print any of these out for anyone because I just got in, I apologize. But I'll be pretty detail-oriented here. There's 6 steps to the sequence. The step 1, I'm going to talk about the selling and marketing process in a second, but I want to talk about what you do when you actually get on the webinar. So let's skip the promotional side of things right now, but let's talk about what you're going to do when you get on the webinar. So step 1 is the pre-party. So once you've created the webinar, you've got people on your webinar, I like to get on 10 minutes early to do a number of things. I like to create social proof. I like to engage with my audience so that they feel welcome, they feel like they're a part of something special. You've made this live event, but now you want to make sure your audience stays on to the very end, because there's no point in bringing anyone on unless they stick around to the very end what you're going to offer. I'm talking about webinars where they're free and then you're selling a product or information at the end. There's a number of different types of webinars. There's ones where they're paid for people to come on. There's ones where I could be part of a membership or continuity program, but I'm talking about a free model, and then at the end you're offering a product or service or software or whatever it may be. So the pre-party is 10 minutes prior. You want to get excited and make sure you'll see all the names coming into the webinar. So you want to start saying, hey Derek, hey Nick, hey Chris, hey Sean, hey Kevin, thanks so much for coming on this presentation. I'm really excited to see you. Keep saying people's names. Keep acknowledging them so they'll remember to stay on. If you say someone's name, they're like, oh my gosh, he's speaking right to me. He's speaking to me. He's going to be speaking to me this entire presentation. So if you can say as many people's names in the first 10 minutes, it's kind of like you're shaking people's hands virtually, right? They're going to like you a lot more. They're going to be more interested in what you have to say, your story, your content, your information. They're going to want to stick around to the very end. You want to keep people hooked to the very end so you can offer your information, your product, your course, whatever it may be. How many of you guys have products that you sell? How many of you have a service that you sell? How many of you guys are coaches? Okay, cool. Is there anything else? Retreats? Okay, you can sell retreats too, like $2,000 to $5,000 retreats? Perfect. So the pre-party is very important. This is step 1. And I call it the virtual cocktail party, right? And what you want to do is I usually like to offer, when Sean and I do our webinars, we do a lot of webinars together, we like to offer a bonus for people to stick around to the very end. So we say, thanks so much for coming on. We're about to get started in a few minutes. Make sure you stick around to the very end because we're going to be covering this, this, and this, these major points that you're going to want to know. And we're going to give you a special gift at the very end. So you're hooking them to the very end before you even get started. So that's step 1, the pre-party. Just engage with your audience as much as possible before you actually begin the presentation. Step 2 is what I call the hook. The hook is step 2. And this is where you give your promise. So what are people going to learn on your presentation? What information are they specifically going to get and receive that they're going to get value out of? You're going to introduce yourself and create social proof. There's probably a lot of people coming on who may know you or may not know you. You've got to assume that people have no clue who you are. Even if it's your own list, they may have just signed up and they don't know about your background, your story. So you've got to make a personal connection with people in order for them to get emotionally involved in your presentation and your content. If they don't have an emotional feeling towards it, it's not going to be really important to them. It's not going to be valid to them. So create emotional social proof. Talk about your story for a few minutes, how you got involved in the information you're going to be giving them, and telling them why you're credible. Okay, so you can talk about the media you've been in and other things like that. Create that social proof. Then you want to reveal the agenda. So people love having an agenda. They love knowing what's coming next. So usually if you've got 3 to 7 main points during the presentation, you want to make sure you say, first we're going to talk about this, this, and this. I'm going to give you guys some statistics on why this information is so relevant for you. The next, I'm going to give you the 3 biggest mistakes everyone makes on something, right? So talk about mistakes, talk about what people need to do to overcome, to learn this information, or to get the results that you'll be giving them. And then talk about the next thing, the 5 things you need to do to get this, this, and this result. Whatever it is, obviously you guys have different products, services, and software and coaching, so it all depends. But you need to have an agenda. The next thing is, so that's the hook. The next thing is the story. And that's all, the 1 and 2 is all within 10 minutes. So the hook and the agenda, that's all within the first 10 minutes. Then you're giving your story. And this is where you engage with your audience with your personal story and give your social proof, okay? Then you want to give, step 4 is the content. This is where you go over the agenda. It's very simple. You've told them exactly who you are and what you're going to cover. Then you cover the information. So tell them what you're going to tell them, and at the end, tell them again, right? So that's the content, and that's about 20 to 35 minutes of the best information that you have. And it's very important you give the best information. If you just give some basic stuff, then people aren't going to be wowed. You need to wow everyone on that presentation if you want to keep them to the very end. So wow them with 90% of your best information. Don't be afraid to give away your best, because people are going to want more if you give them their best. I love how John writes the entire blog post while I'm talking, and it's going to be published in 10 minutes. I love that. So that's the content. And if you guys aren't taking notes, you can just go to johntao.com. He'll have probably all 6 steps pretty much written out. That's point 4, the content. Reveal your best stuff. Point 5 is the close. This is everything leading up to the close. Is important, because if people drop off, if you're not interesting, if you're not engaging, then they're going to leave the webinar, and there's no point in having a close. So you want to try to keep 100% of people on the entire time. I like to have a slide a minute. A slide a minute. Think about this. I was talking with, tell me your name one more time. Kim. Kim does a lot of teleseminars. How many people have been on a teleseminar, or has anyone ever been on a teleseminar? Okay, cool. A few people. Basically, a teleseminar is the audio version of a webinar where you're just listening in on your phone. And Kim, right? I was telling Kim before, think about the distractions we have if we're just on our phone listening in. We might be looking around the room, we might be petting our dog, we might be playing with our kids or kicking our kids or whatever we do with our kids. We might be doing something different, right? But our eyes are not focused on one place. With a webinar, we're focused on the screen. If you just have one slide the entire time, we're going to lose focus, right? We're going to be like, okay, I'm bored. But if we're listening in and there's a slide a minute, you make it like a movie, like a commercial. You're entertaining people as opposed to just having them listen in. So a slide a minute of your content throughout your entire presentation works best for us. And in the first 10 minutes, I like to do a slide every 30 seconds. The more you can hook them in the beginning and keep them engaged to the content, and then if your content is great, they're going to stick around to the very end. The close, though, here's the transition. A lot of people say, I don't like selling because I feel salesy. Has anyone ever felt that way, where they say, I don't want to sell because I feel like it's a hard sell, or I feel salesy and it just doesn't sound right? Only one person raised their hand. Has anyone ever felt that way? Okay, maybe we know a few people. What's up? Good to see you, Kim. So the close. Here's a sentence you can use when you're transitioning from your content, the best information that you have, to what you're going to say next to actually close people. Here's a transitional sentence you can literally put up on the slides so you don't feel salesy, but you transition people to knowing that they're going to be offered a product, service, coaching, retreat. so that you can sell something. You could say something like this: if you'd enjoyed this free, high-value training, what I'm going to do is now show you how to get your free bonus, which you talked about in the beginning, and then take all of this to the next level. So you're saying, if you've enjoyed this information so far and you'd like to know more, I'm going to share with you how to get more right now. And you're basically leading them into the advanced training, the advanced product, the advanced software, the advanced retreat, whatever it may be, right? At that point, there is a sequence during the sales process. And you want to tell people exactly the results they're going to get from your training before you actually tell them where to get your training and what the price is. So you want to build up the value as much as possible for the information. Whether it's a product, software, doesn't matter. But you want to say, okay, look, we covered this, this, and this. I share with you the biggest mistakes, the biggest bonuses, how to get exact results doing this, and what this is going to do for your business, your life, whatever you're talking about on the webinar. But in the advanced training, we're going to cover this and this and this and this. Oh, and by the way, the value of this will get you this result. You're sharing your case studies at this point, giving examples of your students, past success stories of what the results they've had, and you're building up the value throughout the entire close. Then at the very end, you offer your product with your price. There's usually a link or a 1-800 number, whatever you guys want to do, but we send a link right to a sales page with the price right there. At that point, you can do the Q&A session during the close, and this is where you really answer the questions that people have with their buying concerns. So if they're interested in the product, but they're like, well, I don't have enough money to pay for this right now, but I really want this training. Do you guys have a 2-pay or 3-pay option? Yes, we have a 3-pay option, and we have a 2-pay option. You can go here and get it. Is this a digital product or is this a physical product? People ask all these different questions. Be prepared to just answer these questions. But we like to answer buying-related questions. We like to mix in some content questions, so some people may have questions about the content, the information, and it's good to answer those questions. So if I do a lot about LinkedIn training. So let's say, well, what's the real value of creating a LinkedIn group and what's the best way to create it? So I'll answer those questions, but also say, oh, Mary also from Tennessee is asking, is this a physical product or digital, and when are they going to receive the training? So you're kind of putting in these buying-related questions for people as well and answering them so everyone knows, okay, I'm going to get the training instantly. It's instant access right when I sign up. I'm going to have a members area. It's a 60-day refund period, so there's no risk on your end for signing up, et cetera, or whatever it is you're offering. You've got to make sure you just give those examples. So that's step 5, the close, and step 6 is the follow-up. It's extremely important to follow through. So if you do a live webinar, usually 45 to 55% of people who sign up actually show up. What's up, Steve? 45 to 55% who register for your webinar actually show up live. So basically half of your audience who is interested in this information aren't able to hear it for whatever reason because they've got their kids they got to go pick up or something, right? Or they just forgot. So you need to follow up and email everyone the replay who didn't make it on live. Let them know that they can go watch it for a limited amount of time. We do a 24 to 48 hour window. Because if you just say, hey, this video is up online, go check it out whenever you like, then there's no sense of urgency. There's no scarcity. So you want to create a 24 to 48 hour window. Send an email letting people know that the webinar replay is up on a page, and you can just host it on WordPress or wherever you want to host it. Thesis, obviously, is where you should post it. By doing that, you can announce to the people, letting them know it's up, and then you can give them a reason on why the webinar training was so powerful. You can give 3 testimonials from people who actually typed in the chat box during the presentation and say, Mary said this was the best training I've ever received on this type of information. Or after implementing this information, I got X, Y, and Z results. So you can give yourself a reason to put that in the emails and build up more social proof. Then you can send another email reminder about 10 hours before you're taking down the webinar page, letting people know, hey, if you guys haven't signed up for the special and gotten your free bonus at the very end of the presentation, make sure to sign up. There's still spots available, or the same price is still available, or whatever it is you're offering. Make sure to sign up. By doing that, we see that we almost get twice as many results. So if we get 20 sales, we almost get 15 to 20 sales by doing the follow-up sequence. It's a big piece of getting more sales. So you need to make sure you guys do that. The follow-up is very important. So that's the 6 steps. And what I want to talk about now is, we're going to do Q&A in a second because I want you guys to just ask lots of questions, to be honest. But I want to talk about how to find affiliates. So you've got your own list and you're promoting your product, your training, but you can't just do a webinar every week to your own list because you're going to burn them out, right? How long, does everyone here email their list on a weekly basis? Just raise your hand. Weekly or monthly basis, yeah, a lot of people. So you guys know you can't just say, buy this product every single week. Get on the same webinar. They're going to be burned out after 2 or 3 webinars. So how do you find affiliates to promote for you? And that's a good thing. John, do you want to promote me on my next webinar? Maybe. Okay, go. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No. I just remembered I haven't asked John to do that before. But best way to find affiliates for me is, I mean, you guys are all really savvy in this industry, in this world. So the best way to find affiliates is through blogs. Just similar blogs, and I try to find people that have an email list of 10,000 plus. Pretty much on everyone's blog, it says how many email subscribers they have on their blog. I think, John, what do you have, like 100-something thousand? Or it says it right on his blog. Okay, start reaching out to these individuals who are in the similar marketplace as you, who have related products. The best way to get someone to promote you is to promote them. The more money you can make them through your list, if it's a related product. If I got on a webinar with John Chow and said, John, I want to get 1,000 people on a webinar, and I want to try to sell 1,000 books for you. You open for that? He'd be like, hell yes, that's sweet. Wouldn't you be open to that? Yeah. By promoting him first, he's more inclined to the law of reciprocity to give me something in return. He might be interested in potentially doing a webinar in return and selling a product of mine. He's got all information about how to make money online, affiliate marketing, things like that. We could talk about LinkedIn for Business, how people can get more leads and sales through LinkedIn. So it's a related affiliate potential partner. So you want to do the research. I go to a lot of these events to find partners. I was just at an event yesterday speaking at Tim Ferriss's book marketing event, and there was a lot of individuals there who are high-level marketers with 300,000 plus lists who are selling $2,000 products, who do a lot of webinars. So for me, it was very valuable to go out there and network with these individuals. So going to these events or just doing the research online. The next thing you want to do is make it as easy as possible for the affiliate to promote you. So what we do is we pretty much give an exact schedule of what the affiliate needs to do. We give them the email copy for them to send out. We give them the exact webinar registration page to sign up. We host the webinar. We give them their affiliate link to promote the webinar. All we have to say is copy and paste this, edit it if you want to, and send it out at these times. All you got to do is show up. I got the rest of the presentation covered. There's no work on your end. Someone's taking a picture. I'm trying to hide. So you want to have the promo calendar. That's step 3. This is the 5-step process for getting affiliates. The next part is hosting the webinar. That's step 4. You host the webinar. You can get more leads by doing that. So if you guys want to build your list, if you host the webinar, you can collect those leads by doing all that effort. And sometimes the affiliate doesn't want to give you those leads, and that's fine. But you can still host it and make it as simple as possible for them. Step 5 is, again, step 6 in the other part, which is the follow-up sequence. After you present the webinar, give them the email copy they need to follow up to their email list for those that did not make it on live. So the more you can make it as easy as possible for the affiliate, the better. And this is something, I mean, this model is so easy. Once you do about 3 to 5 webinars yourself, it's so easy just to copy and paste a webinar registration page and give the exact same presentation or tweak it and tailor it for a different audience. We have basically the same presentation, but we'll do it for a real estate audience, a mortgage broker audience, marketers audience, small business owners audience, dentists. And it's all the same information. We just tweak the beginning basically a little bit to have relevant information and stats for that industry specific. And the rest is just repeating the exact same content, optimizing it to increase conversions. And it's very simple and very easy to do. And if you have a digital product, you can make a lot of money. 6 figures is really a low number. If you're doing a webinar a week, you should be doing multiple 6 figures easily if you have $100 to $1,000 price point product, anywhere in that range. $100 to $1,000. It's very easy to replicate and duplicate it over and over again. So what I want to do now is see if you guys have any questions. That's the sequence. The webinar selling sequence was the first 6 steps. And again, John's probably already got this published, so if you guys want to go to johnchow.com and get the notes. And then the 5 steps for finding the affiliates, partners, and getting them to promote was the second part. Yeah, do you guys have any questions? And I'll come around with this mic if you do.
Hi. Do you have any preferred platform for how you present the webinar?
Yeah, I use GoToWebinar. I love the platform. They have up to 1,000 people you can get on live. I prefer live webinars over recorded webinars just because there's a type of energy when you promote this live event. And when people show up live, they know it's like this special energy. And GoToWebinar. But the thing is with GoToWebinar, it's about $400 a month. So there are some automated webinar softwares as well, but GoToWebinar is the best.
So is your audience throughout the country and throughout the world, and what do you do with time frame differences?
Good question. My audience is worldwide. So unfortunately, people in Australia are like, it's 4 a.m. for them when it's, when I'm doing a lot of my webinars. But we have some loyal fans and followers, don't we, Sean? It's like people they'll set their alarm for 4 a.m. just to get up to go on our webinars. We have a reputation for giving like the best content in webinars and not being salesy. A lot of people are just selling the entire time without giving value. Where we have the approach of let's give away our best stuff and make people love us so they'll come back every single time, whether they're in Japan or Australia and have to wake up for it. And we always get people saying, it's 4 a.m. here and I stayed up the whole night just to listen to this, and they come on over and over. I think if you give the value, then you can give the replay out as well. So a lot of people always say, don't worry if you can't make it, we'll give you the replay for a 48-hour window, letting them know. The beauty about having an automated webinar system is they can set their own time. So you can say there's 3 times during the day when you can watch this, whichever time is best for you. They can pick the time and then get on live during that presentation. So, makes sense. Do you have a pretty big list of an international audience, or huge? Where's your card? Let me get it. No, I'm just kidding. You just want to yell it out?
Yeah, you mentioned that you give away a free bonus.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends. I mean, we like to give away either like an ebook of $100 value or $50 value, or like a video training, some type of value that you could sell this information. But if you say, look guys, just for coming on this free presentation where I'm going to give you great information, where I could probably sell this presentation for $100 a ticket, just by coming on live and sticking around to the end, I'm going to give you an extra bonus. So, yeah, everyone who comes on live. If they just sign up, then you got to make them come on live. Because if you can engage them throughout the entire presentation, and you create the right sequence, then your conversions are going to go through the roof. And we see like 20% conversions on a lot of our webinars, from $100 to $500 price points, which is pretty fun.
Hey, hello. How are you? I was actually asking, are you using the Facebook webinars? The ones? Yeah. And what was your main site too?
My main site, just lewishowes.com is up there as my main site. I'm not using the Facebook webinars, but I've seen a lot of people starting to use those. I haven't tested it yet. I don't know, have you tested it yet, Sean? So I don't know. It seemed kind of like spammy to me, to be honest, like a little spammy. But maybe it's just my ignorance. I haven't tested it yet. Are they good? Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. I like to have people full screen so there's no distraction. And if they're in Facebook, it's like being on a teleseminar. Oh, let me go look around the room or like talk to my friends. It's worse, right? Because then they're just going to be looking at videos and pictures on the side. Yeah. Test it out. Yeah, I'll test it out. Do you work for them or something? I apologize. I'm like hammering them. Was there another question? I will check it out, though. Was there a question back here I thought I saw? Any other questions? Yeah. Yeah. So how do you do the replays in GoToWebinar? Has anyone ever used GoToWebinar or heard of this software? Okay. We record it with ScreenFlow because the video file exported with GoToWebinar, first off, it doesn't even work on a Mac to export it. So you got to have a PC, which sucks. And there's a couple downfalls to GoToWebinar, but I've used a lot of platforms, and it's the best one overall. So we just use ScreenFlow on a Mac to record the file, which gets a better audio on both ends. And you got to record the computer audio. And then what we do is we play it. We'll just blow the video up live. Is it FLV or MOV? MOV. We'll put it up 10 minutes early with a 10-minute cue, like just a recording. What's that? An hour? Okay, an hour or 10 minutes, whatever you want to do it. But we'll just put it up on our screen, full screen, and click play 10 minutes early when we start the webinar. So at the hour mark, it starts like, hey, everyone, welcome to the webinar. You know what I mean? So, ScreenFlow, yeah, it's like 99 bucks. It's a great little software, yes. Kim, right? Teleseminar queen.
So what's your experience selling over $1,000 products, and do you do any follow-up sales calls on any of that?
For our audience, we've got an interesting audience. We have only seen success at $997 or $1,000 price point. We've tried to sell, we had Brian Tracy on a webinar one time and tried to sell one of his $2,000 products. I think we got like one sale, and it was a refund within 30 days. Yeah, so the $1,000 price point seems to be the sweet spot for us, but it all depends on the audience. We've got a specific social media, entrepreneur, small business owner audience, but if you got a different audience, you would, do you? You might be able to get 2,000, 3,000 from on a webinar, but it all depends. Yeah, so we'll have a field in our GoToWebinar form where it's optional to give your phone number. Obviously, the more fields you have on your sign-up page, the less it converts, because the more you have to give. So we give it optional, and what we do sometimes is we'll have a salesperson follow up with each person and basically ask them about 3 questions, saying, you know, did you enjoy the webinar? What was the best part you got out of the webinar? And did you sign up for the offer? And then we'll ask them questions based on their answers there. If they didn't sign up, we'll say, well, why didn't you get signed up? Can I help you get signed up right now? Because a lot of people may say, oh, I had to go ask my wife or my husband, or I didn't have my credit card out. So it's just a matter of saying, okay, let's get you signed up right now then. So doing that, we see increased conversions by following up. We're kind of lazy sometimes and don't do it every time, but when we do, it's pretty effective. It's just a matter of having someone in-house who can do that, or someone on your sales team. Did you have another part of that question? I forget. Okay, cool. Any other questions? Kim?
What do you think about seating throughout the presentation?
Seating throughout the presentation. So Kim's a master at teleseminars, so she probably knows this already. But seating throughout the presentation, we are always seating the main benefit, which is the offer, throughout the entire presentation. So if I'm talking about LinkedIn, and I probably should have done a better job telling you guys who I am. I wrote a couple books about LinkedIn, created the #1 LinkedIn training course in the world, have given over 400 webinars and presentations on LinkedIn. It's kind of been my thing the last few years. So when I'm giving a presentation on LinkedIn, I will say, if you guys want to optimize your search ranking on LinkedIn, you got to make sure you do these 5 things. And I'll go through the 5 points, and I'll say, you know, don't worry about doing anything else on your profile right now. I just want you to see instant results by doing these exact 5 steps. But there are ways to make sure you optimize your profile by doing this, this, and this, but don't do that right now. I'll tell you more about that in the very end and how you can get access to that information. So I'm seating people while I'm giving them the content, what they really want to get at the end. I'm giving them the best stuff, but there's more advanced training. I can only cover so much in 60 minutes, right? But there's so much I can give them in the advanced training. So I'm seeding and hooking them. Every time I talk about one point in the agenda, it's giving them information, but saying, you know what, we'll cover more to the very end. Make sure to stick around. What's up, Sean? I didn't even see you in there. And we'll talk about more to the very end, so you keep them hooked that whole entire time. Does that answer? Pretty much what you do too, right? Yeah, okay. Was it? I thought you had. Oh, yeah.
How important is the questions and answers?
I think it's extremely important. And the longer we go on Q&A, the more sales we get. So here's what we do. This is a trick. I should have added this. I'm checking my phone. We're using ClickBank for one of our products. We're using Authorize.net for another product. So I'm checking my email of sales coming through. And this is something that everyone needs to do because it's like a gold rush when you do this. So we'll share the information, we'll share the pitch, we'll give them a link to where they can go to the sign up on the website. And then at the end, we start to see sales come through. There may be 5, 10 sales or whatever it may be. And what I'll do is Sean will ask me a question, or I'll be answering a question. I'll be like, wait a minute, let me check my, let me see who's already signed up really quick before we get to this next question. And I'll see, I'm like, okay, we just had 12 people sign up, and I'll start clicking on the sign up form, and I'll say, Mary, congratulations for signing up. You made a wise investment. It's a great decision. I'll go through and say off every person's name who signed up. And I'll say, congratulations, that's an amazing job you just did. It's a wise investment, and you're going to see a lot of results on the information. Make sure you go through the information we talked about right now after this presentation and start applying this so you can get real results really fast, because I want you to get more results. So I'm just saying congratulations. Thanks so much for signing up. We really appreciate it. We're here for you. Here's our support email. You know, anything you need, contact our support email, right? Reassuring them that it was a wise decision. By everyone else hearing that, they're like, holy shit, I got to go sign up for this. This is awesome, right? So everyone else, you just see a flood of people start signing up for your product. When you start acknowledging and thanking people for signing up, you're basically giving them permission to sign up and to buy. Because people may be hesitant. They may be like, let me hear what else this scrub has to say. You know, it's like, who knows? So while you're answering questions and you're giving them like the exact answers they need with great information, you just see people just signing up. And then whenever you see like 10 come through, just acknowledge them and congratulate them. And then they're like so happy and thrilled because you've been communicating with them in the beginning. You've said their name in the beginning, you say their name at the end. They're like, man, this person is speaking to me this entire time. And the more you speak to individuals, it's like you really hook people. And that's when you get people to come back every time on the webinar because they want to hear their name and they want to get good value. Right? Does that make sense? Yep. Okay, cool. Yeah.
What's a product or service that would not be good at affiliate?
Product or service would not be good affiliate. A product or service that would not be good is a product that does not pay out well for an affiliate. So, right?
But I mean for a teleseminar, right? What would not work probably?
I mean, I'm not sure. I can't think. I mean, if you've got an audience who's interested in the information around a software, product, book, training, human services, yeah, or like coaching, or yeah, coaching is fine. We do a lot of. There's a guy named Chris Garrett who has like a 6-week blogging coaching program. It's $99 a month. It's a 6-month, and it's $99 a month. And we sell that, and it's a group coaching, and we sell a ton of those for them. Yeah, but it's you could do service coaching too. It's one-on-one. Yeah, you can do that. Anything that's, I mean, it just depends. It's hard to sell something, I think, on a webinar in 60 minutes that's over $2,000. So if it's over $2,000, it might be a little trickier, but I think you can sell anything on a webinar. Coaching, definitely. I know a lot of people like Lisa Sasevich and some of these other coaches out there. I know they're doing a lot of teleseminars right now and selling. So I would definitely do it, yeah. Well, it depends, because if it's a service-based, if you're doing coaching, it's hard to get 50%. But anything digital, 50% minimum. I mean, if you can give more, great. But I won't promote anything unless it's 50%, because we give 50%. And that's just the way I want to do things. So it's just not worth our time. Taking 30%, it's just not worth it, because we can promote our own product and make more. So 50% is pretty much standard on webinars for hundreds of $1,000 courses in there, if it's all digital. Kim? Yeah, we do. It's especially, what's that? Okay, sorry. Do we have the affiliates on with us, introducing us? So if we're doing a webinar to an affiliates list, if it's not our list, then that audience has no clue who we are. So in the email copy, you need to make sure that you are building yourself up as the credible resource and information that you're going to be providing. So you're seeding yourself before they actually come on the webinar. Then when they come on the webinar, it's essential for the presenter, the affiliate that you're doing it with, that's not your list. It's essential for you to pretty much build a great relationship with them first. If you've never talked to them before, it's going to be hard for them to really build you up and credify you. Credify? Is that a word? I'm on like 3 hours of sleep. I apologize. Credify. Use that, John. That's cool. Is that a word or no? It is now. Credify. What was I trying to say? Edify? Is that a word? Edify. Okay. Where was I going with that? So, at the beginning of the webinar, it's very important for them to build you up as a credible resource. For 2 to 3 minutes, say, you know, for an example, I would try to have a great relationship with someone. If I was doing it with John, we've known each other for a few years. So John could share a good joke about me. He could say, I've heard Louis speak at at Blog World about LinkedIn. I've heard him speak at Affiliate Summit about LinkedIn. I've read his books. I've been in his training course. I've seen students of his get amazing results. The information he's going to share with you today is going to blow you away, right? So if you give them, if you have a great relationship with them, or if you just give them the right bio to read, then it's going to build you up to their audience even better. And the more they edify you, the better you're going to be out throughout the entire presentation of hooking them, connecting with them on a personal level, and then selling them the product or service. So does that answer the question? I can't remember. Was that you, Kim, who answered it? We engage, yes. What I'll say is, thanks so much, John, for having me on. Love how I'm seating John to like promote me. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding, John. I'd say thanks so much, John, for having me on, and thanks for the warm introduction and the welcome. And I would say, just want to do a quick sound check, make sure everyone can hear me. Go ahead and just type in the question box if you guys can hear me okay. Also, just let me know where you're at in the world so I can tell where everyone is. And so they'll put in their I'm in Orlando or I'm in Sweden. And I'll be like, oh, Jane from Sweden, thanks so much for coming on. I'm glad you guys can hear me. And I'll just say a few names just to really kind of build that rapport. That rapport is very important, I feel. The better the rapport, the more sales at the end. So, questions? I saw some hands. Yeah. Okay, suggestions for list building for people going into new niches.
You talked about like how your first one you had about 500 people on that list.
Yep.
How about something
Starting from scratch. That's a whole nother presentation, list building. But I started out building my list through LinkedIn, creating a LinkedIn group. Got about a 50,000 person network for a sports industry. Just by building a community through LinkedIn, you can message the people once a week. You can create an autoresponder to send them to your newsletter page to sign up. We pretty much built our list through social media all for free. So that's pretty much how we did it. But there's a lot of things you can do for paid traffic and media buys. I'm not really much of an expert on that. But building a list through content creating, if you want to talk about building a list, talk to Derek Halpern in the red/salmon shirt to the right over there. But he's a great master at list building at socialtriggers.com. Also at DIYthemes.com. Chris Pearson, who's pretty much sponsoring this conference, part of this conference. So list building strategies from those guys. Any other questions? Yeah.
Two questions. How do you, when people sign up for the GoToWebinar and they insert their email, how do you port the emails from GoToWebinar over to your CRM?
Yeah.
And then how do you leverage your list beyond the webinar?
Sure. So how do you export the emails from GoToWebinar and importing them to your email marketing provider? Because Aweber is a double opt-in, so is MailChimp probably, and a bunch of others. We use iContact.com because you can import any list at any time. If you're doing it for the first time, they're going to want to you're not going to be able to mail right away, so you're going to have to go through their due diligence program. They'll just call you, or you can call them and say, where did you get this list? Where's the sign-up form? Things like that. And you just tell them you got it from your webinar. So you can send them the webinar registration page, and it's good to go in about 5 minutes. But we do that. There's also different scripts you can use. Derek Halpern, again, has a great script called Webinar Bridge, which I believe is $97 right now. It's basically, you can create a GoToWebinar page, but take the code and add it to your own blog with the sign-up form, and he's got everything there very easy for you. Then from there, it automatically syncs to Aweber or MailChimp for you, so you don't have to do any exporting to importing. It just automatically syncs, and you host the webinar on your own blog, just on a page you create with his software, which is takes 30 seconds to set up. So you can either do it that, or you can do GoToWebinar and just export the list, import to iContact, and then mail that way. So it depends what you want to do. It's called Webinar Bridge. If you go to socialtriggers.com, on the right-hand side, you'll see a button that says Webinar Bridge. You want to take me out to dinner for that, Derek? Yeah. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
I just want to point out, most people don't realize it, but Aweber actually does support single opt-in. Yeah. No, not at all. In fact, I struggled for months trying to figure out how some people were doing single opt-in and others weren't. If you had an Aweber account prior to them introducing single opt-in, the feature does not show up on any of your lists. You have to actually request it. Anybody with a new Aweber account actually has the option available. So some people see it, some people don't. But
Cool. Well, there you go. So if you have Aweber, you can call them up and get that fixed. How much time do we have? Does anyone know? So I know. All right, cool. We got 15 more minutes. So You guys can either boo me off or we can do more questions. Was this been helpful so far or no? Anyone? Yeah? Okay, cool. Kim?
Kind of a social rules question. I just ask people upfront, how big is your list? Is that kind of taboo to ask that?
Is it taboo for me to ask you how old you are? No, I'm just kidding. I think you can usually gauge people, if you do some research, if they have a blog, you can kind of know what their audience is. If I like to only work with affiliates who mail once a week, or at least like once a week, once every 2 weeks. If they're not mailing, they don't have a good rapport with their audience, in my opinion. So the more they're sending great content to their audience on a weekly or twice a month basis, that's the type of affiliates you want to work with, because if they just have a big list but they don't promote, they're only going to get like 200 people on. I mean, I've had people say they have like a 100,000 person list and get like 150 people on. I'm like, you are a jackass, dude. You know what I mean? I'm like, I just get pissed sometimes when people say this huge list and they like make these guarantees. So anyways, Sherry.
I've been following you and Sean for 2 years, and I've watched you guys literally become rock stars over the past 2 years. You're amazing. So before you guys became the rock stars and had like the King Daddy list, how did you attract the super affiliates to promote you guys?
When you have a sexy business partner like Sean, it's very easy for him to get the affiliates you want. You know what? I just really love building relationships with people. So I spent a lot of energy and time going to these different conferences and just meeting the John Chows of the world who had big lists and basically said, you know what? No one in the world is smarter than me in LinkedIn. I can beat out anyone in the world, because I was so sure of my content and my information, and I put a year and a half into doing it every single day for 8 hours, written books, did trainings on it. So I knew my information was good. I was just building relationships and saying, hey, I'd love to do a webinar with you on LinkedIn. Give your audience great content to make you the champion of your list. If you make someone a champion of their list, so their audience continues to come back to every presentation or every email that they send out after that, then they're going to love you for that. And if you make them money, they're going to love you even more. So what I would do is I'd say, I want to promote you first. Any way that I can, I'll promote you to help you make money and show you that I'm credible if they didn't want to do a webinar. And then after I promote them, make them some money, and really give them some leads and traffic, you just build a relationship and they're willing to do that with you in return, you know what I mean? So if you've got good information and you are the best at what you do in the world, then there's no reason why people want to do it with you. Does that answer it right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
3 biggest mistakes in list building.
What's that?
Can you tell the 3 biggest mistakes in list building or what you made wrong?
3 biggest mistakes in list building? Shoot. You know, I kind of got lucky building my list because I was using LinkedIn aggressively early on, and I was building these groups through LinkedIn, and I was able to message them, and it's just kind of, I don't know if there's mistakes in list building. A big mistake in list building is not having an opt-in on your homepage. If you don't have an opt-in on your homepage, you're just going to be driving traffic to your site and not collecting those leads. So Derek Halpern, also socialtriggers.com, tells you to add an opt-in on every single page of your site, because you're driving traffic to these pages, and people usually bounce afterwards. But if you give them a reason to opt in, whether it's for more information, a free bonus, something like that, then you're going to get more leads. I'm probably losing out on a lot of leads every day because I don't have an opt-in on every page. I just have it on a few pages. So that's a mistake, I think. Yeah? Yeah. So do I ever do anything to repurpose my old webinars, my old content? You know, I'm kind of lazy at some points with the old content, but we do package it up and put it in like a bonus section for our members area. So if it's a really great webinar, we'll do that. Sometimes we'll transcribe the entire webinar and create an ebook out of it, just create a cover, a nice little cover, and give it away as a free bonus. So there's different ways you can do that. We can cut out the audio and use it as part of a blog post. But really what we try to do is just replay the ones that convert the best. So if it converted really well, let's say 30 or 40% for a $1,000 product with 500 people on, then there's no point in doing another one live with that presentation. Just replay that and edit the intro and the outro with the affiliate you're doing it with on ScreenFlow so that you know it can convert over and over again. There's no point in doing that over. So we try to do that as much as possible. If it's a really high conversion, then you did something right there. Sometimes we'll go over the entire thing just to kind of analyze what we did right, what we did wrong. just kind of like reviewing game film. You know, you want to see the mistakes you made, the ums and ahs you did, the tics, the different things you said in your voice, the fluctuation, the tonality, if you lowered your voice, when you raised your voice, what people did in reaction, why they, you can see on GoToWebinar the stats of more people on the screen and leaving the screen. So what did you say at certain points when you see those stats? What are the social triggers for people? Things like that. So, yeah.
With the amount of experience you have with LinkedIn, how much of your traffic is driven from a source like that versus JV's affiliates?
If it's a webinar that I'm hosting and promoting to my list or for a different affiliate that I'm promoting, then I'll use my LinkedIn list and my LinkedIn groups, and we'll drive a lot of traffic using that. We drive a lot of traffic through Twitter and Facebook as well. I would say our list drives the most amount of traffic, but then a combination of LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, and Google Plus now, we're driving maybe like 50 to 75% of the same amount of traffic. The LinkedIn traffic is converting as good, if not better, than the email list. The Twitter traffic is about 20% opt-in, and Google Plus, I don't know if we've tested that yet. Facebook is around 20% as well. So we're not getting as good as conversion on the social media except for LinkedIn. When you think about LinkedIn, it's all business professionals. For my products, it makes sense. It may not make sense for some products, right? So you got to figure out your audience. Yeah. I know we got more questions. Come on, I got like 10 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Final Destination 5. They're selling the same movie, but I mean, they're selling to the same audience with a different movie, right? I mean, how many Final Destinations can there be? Aren't you dead after the first Final Destination, right? But it's like all these movies are the same thing. They're just selling to the same audience, right? Titanic 2, yeah, right. So we're creating, so here's our strategy right now. We created, I don't know how this happened, but I started out with a $20 book on LinkedIn, went from that, and then me and my business partner somehow said, let's create a $1,000 course and have nothing else in between. So we went from a $20 book to a $1,000 training course. Did really well, sold like 1,300 copies of the $1,000 course. And we said, you know what? About 80% of our list can't afford this. We have this big list. They come on over and over to all of our webinars. I mean, Sherry, you've been on a bunch of webinars, right? Yeah, yeah. But some people, and it's all about giving good value. We give good value, right? Thank you. I should just let you come up here and endorse me. No,
So when you, and everybody is always promoting the same product, okay? And when somebody's promoting the same product and it's a product that I want to buy, the difference is that I'm going to make sure that I buy it off of your affiliate link, even if it's not your product, but somebody you're promoting. I go out of my way to make sure that I buy it off of your affiliate link so you guys get the commission because you guys are the ones that built the rapport with me.
That's another point. I think a lot of people, especially in the affiliate marketing world, have no clue about social media, at least the people that I connect with and meet here. And the thing that Sean and I do well, I think, is that we're everywhere online, and we're kind of building our audience with our list where they're hanging out, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+, YouTube, wherever else it may be. So we're building kind of our credibility, and we're just showcasing, we're being top-of-mind awareness by sharing relevant content to the same audience that we're doing webinars with. By doing that, they feel like they know us a little bit better than if we weren't doing that, right? So being just involved in social media really helps building that rapport and that credibility. Yeah. I don't know any stats, but it's good to have one focused presenter and then one person edifying you. Basically, you talk for 10 minutes on your point, and then the speaker's like, you know what, I had no clue you could do that. This is pretty mind-blowing. And I'm looking at the comments right now, and Sherry's saying, wow, I didn't know you could do this either, and this person's saying this, and saying it's great value, great content. So for them just saying, re-emphasizing how powerful the information really is, it helps the main speaker just edifies them even more. Yeah, the JV partner. So the JV partner is usually someone that has no clue what you're talking about, right? A lot of people don't know about LinkedIn, so it's really easy for me to just wow people with a few different points of information, because they're like, I had no clue you could do that, because people just set up a LinkedIn profile and they never use it again. I'm a nerd who was on there for a couple of years, 8 hours a day, and figured everything out. So if I could show them something interesting that's going to get them 500 new hits to their site every single day on autopilot, they're like, I had no clue you could do this. Why am I buying traffic using these other networks when I could just use LinkedIn, of the most targeted business professionals in the world who buy products? So you want to make sure you give your best stuff, or else you're not going to wow the other presenter, and you're not going to wow your audience. Okay, we got 5 minutes. Yeah?
Can you create different profiles on LinkedIn to market your different niches?
Can you create different profiles if you have a number of businesses, different niches, right? So on LinkedIn, you can only have one profile at the moment. It's against terms of service to have multiple profiles for your own name. So if you do, delete the other one that you don't want to have. There's a way to structure your LinkedIn profile to tell people who you are, who you help, and how you help them throughout your entire profile, starting with the headline. If you have one job or one business, then you want to tell people specifically, I help first-time home buyers in Columbus, Ohio get the home of their dreams. So you have one specific focus, and you're telling them who you are, who you help, and how you help them in your headline. If you've got 2 companies or 3 companies, for me, I've got a number of different things. I'm an entrepreneur, so I'll say I'm an author of the LinkedIn book and LinkedIn training. I've got a sports marketing company. I've got something else and something else in my headlines. You're qualifying the people that are coming there who would be interested in that information. Then throughout your profile and your summary and your specialties, you basically have a headline and a bullet point with a paragraph and bullet point, a headline of your different company or the industry, and then the paragraph, a headline, paragraph. So you're just kind of reiterating who you are, who you help, and how you help them, if you have a number of things or one thing. Does that make sense? So keep on one profile, create groups around the different niches, so you can build an audience and mail to those groups. So I have one profile. I'm in sports marketing. I've got a sports marketing group on LinkedIn, but I've also got business professional groups. I've got all these different types of groups that I want to market to. So that's how you really build your list and drive traffic that way. I saw another hand pop up. Is there another hand, another question? Any questions? A couple minutes left. Kim.
What do you think about saying something like, I just want you to know up front that I will be offering a product at the end, but either way you'll get great value.
Yeah, we don't tell them that we're going to give them a product. We tell them in the agenda, we say, here are the main things we're going to give you throughout this presentation. At the very end, we're going to share with you how you can get your bonus, your free gifts. We're also going to do Q&A and answer any question you have. Then, we're going to share you exactly how to take all this information we talked about to the next level. So get ready for that information, because it's very important you stay on to the end. Yeah, well, I use the next level because it's like we're teaching people, business owners, how to use like social media marketing to get more leads, traffic, and sales. So it's like, how do you take this to the next level from the information we're giving you? Because we can only give you so much information in 60 minutes, which is the amount of time that we like to do them for. So yeah, we talk about the next level, but it depends on what your product or service is. You may want to say something else similar to that. So does that make sense? That part, yeah. How many people have done webinars before? How many people have made over $10,000 in one webinar? 20,000, 50,000, 100,000. Dang, it's ballers. So for those who have done webinars, did you guys get any good value out of this, or any? Was this helpful? Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's do 1 or 2 questions left, maybe, if you guys have any. Yeah.
How do you track and manage sales and payments to affiliates?
Well, we have Infusionsoft we use for our $1,000 products and $500 products. So it does all the tracking there, and then we have our accountant do all the tracking and just pay them out within 30 days. We pay out at 35 days. What we like to do with our affiliates, because I like my affiliates to promote me every single month to all their new leads. Because if you're going to over-deliver for them on one webinar and make a lot of money for them, there's no reason why to say, thanks, talk to you next year. Create a system for them to then use that same presentation, that same video, and say, I know you're getting around 1,500 new leads a month. Would you put this in your auto webinar or your auto email sequence to that? That way you're getting them sales by delivering good content to their list, hooking them to stay on to every email they talk about after that because you gave them great content. You're also making them money. So we use Infusionsoft for that, but a lot of the products we're creating now, I forgot to answer this question, I think, before, or I was going somewhere with this, but a lot of products we have now are in the $100 price point, because only 80% of our list can buy the $1,000 courses. So we're breaking our product up in smaller training programs at a $100 price point so that the 80% can buy those and afford those and get good information still. And we're using ClickBank for that. So it's just auto pay in 30 days or 35 days or whatever it is to every affiliate, and it takes care of all customer support and affiliate tracking. It's amazing. It's so sweet because you don't have to worry about anything. Sean. Oh yeah, so if it's a $1,000 course, what we like to do for our affiliates, I mean, I just love anyone who promotes me. So I want to show them so much appreciation. I'll, fly out and take care of their baby for a day if they promote me. I'm super happy and grateful, right? I'll wash their car. I'm just really grateful for people to promote. So what we do, right after the sale, if say they made $20,000 in the webinar, they get $10,000 because we're giving 50%. We'll send them $5,000 overnight check that day. And so they're getting money in the mail the next day where other affiliates never, they're like late on their payments. Maybe they don't even send them money. You want to make sure that you're the best affiliate in the world for them. And you build that relationship and you show them trust and credibility by paying them the next day half. Then after 30 days, if there's any refunds, you can adjust the payments and pay out whatever the rest is of the 50% after the 30-day mark. We also send like, if it's, I got time, okay, we'll do one more question. So we also do like, depending on the affiliate, I've built the relationships, Sean and I built relationships with people, so I know what they like. I know what their passions are, their interests are. So we'll just send them like a big box of barbecue if they like to barbecue within the first week as well. Just sending them something that says, you know what, we really appreciate you. We've sent people different types of gifts that they're just interested in. Try to connect with them on a human level. And obviously, you're going to build a more powerful relationship than just trying to make money. Because it's not about just making money. It's really about building the relationship long term, in my opinion. And you don't want to burn those bridges ever. So, any last question? Yeah.
ClickBank has now started to approve $1,000 products.
Yeah. Do you work for AWeber and ClickBank? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. We've considered it, yeah. But I don't know where I'm going with this answer. What are we going to do, Sean? I don't even know. We don't know yet. So I like the $100 price point for ClickBank. I like controlling the money at $1,000 for whatever reason. I just feel like I just want to have that control because usually with the higher price points, there's more refunds. I want to be able to massage those customers better and really have a better relationship with them. Through ClickBank, it's like they can just refund right away. And I'd rather just like go through the coaching calls or whatever we do to really massage that relationship with the customer and make sure they're getting good value as opposed to just like buying and canceling. And also it's a 60-day refund policy with ClickBank, I believe, and we have 30-day for our $1,000 courses, so it's a little, All right, hopefully that was helpful, everyone. If you have any questions, you can come up afterwards. I appreciate it. And just go ahead and circle 5 and pass it out.